Hello and welcome to the Philippines. I did a video a few days ago about the new rule allowing people to stay in not to be deported out of the Philippines. And there's been a number of people who have gone to immigration and they've been told, no, that's not really the way it works. So anyway, I'm here with JR of JRC Visa Consultancy, and we're going to try to get some clarification on this. So JR, take it away.
Okay. Hello, Rod. How are you? How are your subscribers? So yeah, that's one of the advisories that we're trying to deal with right now. But beforehand, let me read to you the title of that advisory, which was released sometime on the official website for the Bureau of Immigration here in the Philippines, sometime September 12 of 2021. So the order or the press release says it's a temporary suspension of the order to leave under the Immigration Memorandum Circular Number SBM-2013, that's 2013-003, during the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so this needs to be clarified. This is a good news, shall I say? This is a good news. Okay. There are two results from the motion for reconsideration. But before we go to the motion for reconsideration, let's take a look at the status. Your tourist visa status, or sometimes we call the temporary visitor's visa here in the Philippines. If you are a non-visa required national, you are allowed to stay 36 months on tourist visa max. If you are a visa required national, you are allowed to stay in the Philippines on tourist visa by 24 months. Now, COVID hits way back 2020, sometime March, and some of those foreigners who are into the tourist visa, regardless if they are visa required or non-visa required, have on those situations that they passed over the 36 months or the 24-month mark. Now, let's focus on the 36 months because I know the Amazing Philippines, most of the subscribers are under the non-visa required national, which is they are allowed to stay here 36 months. Now, when you pass by 36 months, on the regular process before COVID, you need to file a motion for reconsideration for you to be allowed to stay beyond 36 months mark. Now, let's just say January 1st this year, 2021, that's your 36-month mark. And you're planning to file by probably September because of the restrictions. If you're an island outside of the Philippines, not so near in this major islands, and you have restrictions, and it actually limit your mobility in a way, you need to file the motion for reconsideration. Now, this order, which was actually made way back September 12, 2021, is a good light of the tunnel because the end product of the motion for reconsideration is either two. You will be ordered to leave the country, or you will be allowed to stay by stating your reasons, either medical. If you're a foreign parent, you're supporting a co-partner here, or you have a medical condition which actually exposed you to COVID, you will be allowed to stay, but you are required to get an appropriate visa. What could those visa options that you have? Commonly, they go into the retirement visa. They go into spousal visa. But going back to the order to leave, I need your subscribers to comprehend this very well. This is not a guarantee that they can actually extend more than 36 months on tourist visa, and they need to file still the motion for reconsideration appropriately because they will be assessed in the legal department of the Bureau of Immigration and then will be approved by the commissioner. But take note, the first possible product or the end order or the end decision of the order to leave was temporarily suspended. It is not eliminated but temporarily suspended because of humanitarian consideration. So what is left as a as an end result for the motion for reconsideration is for you to be required to get an appropriate visa, either what is ever applicable for you. But it does not mean that you can extend up to another 3 years on tourist visa. And one thing that I would like also to share to your subscribers that it's just like this way. If I already overstayed and I'm from the US, I'm American wanting to stay in Cebu City, and I already overstayed, and when I go to the immigration office and they will say, hey, I'm gonna extend this, my 36-month mark is in January this year, what will be the supporting documents for me to pay for the IARC, in which that is, so that I can actually comprehend, I can share it to you. That's the Immigration Arrears Release Certificate. That is the fines and penalties of you having passed over 36 months. That is more or less 25,000 if you file it after your 36-month mark, or that will be 15,000 if you file the motion for reconsideration before your 36-month mark. Now, the next cost or the penalty, that's for the penalties. The next cost that you need to do is to update your visa from January 1 this year up to the time that you will be allowed to stay. For example, I filed the motion for reconsideration at this time. So since there will be a good news for the no order to leave, they gave me 120 days. The processing time will be 2 months approximately. So now is September, October, and from the time that I pay the arrears, that will be the start of the 120 days. So that will be November, December, January next year, February next year, for example. So I have to update my visa from January 2021 up to February 2022. That is the next cost that you need to do. But rest assured, you are given an order for you to be allowed to stay, and thereafter ordered to get an appropriate, apply or secure an appropriate visa that will fit for you. Because I have asked this to our OICs in our branches, and have tried to verify it offhand in terms of this information, because that is a little bit of gray area there. It is not stated on that order, which is approved by the commissioner itself, that they are allowing you on tourist visa until the COVID situation will end up. And mind you, also with a general takeout of this order is this is applicable for temporary visitors visa. They have not taken into consideration or into the context of this order for those foreigners who are holders of specific visas or any other visas that has expired during the pandemic. And also, it is also important to note that there is a date that they actually stated here, that is March 1, 2020. So for those foreigners who have overstayed starting March 1, 2020 last year. If you overstayed before March 1, then that's a different story. Now, if you go over also with the motion for this particular order, you would also note that there are also grounds that even before the suspension of order to leave, you are still have the chance to get an extension with the grounds of basically you having a family, you having a medical conditions. Those are the basic. Once you have comorbidities, then I know the Bureau of Immigration Commissioner and all immigration personnel are also giving due consideration, due humanitarian consideration of your situation, of course. But then again, you are required to secure and apply for an appropriate visa. So I hope that we have given you a little clarity of this order, because sometimes it could be interpreted on your how you would like to interpret it, but we are trying to help you and guide you on those matters.
I think when I read it too, I read a news report, and then I pulled up the copies that you have there also, and I read through it, and I read through it again, and it's very easy to get the impression that you can just keep an unlimited amount of time. You can just continue to upgrade your tourist visa. But what you're saying is you can't do that. You have to do the motion for reconsideration. You
Yes.
have to pay the penalty.
Yes.
You have to pay to update, not just up to this point in time, but for a number of months in the future. That gives you the time to upgrade to a different visa,
That's true.
that type of thing. So, but you will have to, what you're saying is you will have to, when you pay your penalty and you bring your visa up to date, not just bring it up to date, but they will also ask you to pay forward 2,
Yes.
3, 4 months. Okay, so you're covered, and then within that extra 4 months, you are required to find another option, another visa.
Yes, appropriate visa. They will order you, the immigration office will order you to secure and apply for an appropriate visa. Those are the common terms or words that are actually reflected on the orders based on our personal experience. But yeah, there will be, I think, a question that would pop up. How about those foreigners who have been given an order to leave, and it actually, like, this was released September 12th, and the order to leave just came out into their knowledge, or they were advised that they were ordered to leave, let's just say September 15. Now, please also take note that this press release for the suspension for the order to leave was done September 12th. You need to take a look at when did you file your motion for reconsideration, because more likely, if your motion or your order to leave came out after September 15 or September 15, it was processed 2 months ago. So
Okay.
at the end of the tunnel, your subscribers also, especially those who are in the Philippines, would also take this into consideration, that once you are given the order to leave, and let's just say, for example, you just go there and do it by yourself, there are still instances that those order to leave can be still reversed, or the decision can be reverted into you allowing you to stay in the country by you drafting your situation. Why is it that you need to stay here in the Philippines? So it's not the end of the line. If you're given the order to leave, then hey, probably there's something wrong how you actually brought up your situation to the Bureau of Immigration. Because I heard that there are other foreigners who just go, okay, I'll do it myself. I go to the Bureau of Immigration office, I presented my passport, hey, so, sir, I wanted to request for an extension of this 36 months. They give you the formats, and probably you've missed to deliver your situation to them. Probably you have medical condition, you have cardiovascular condition, which will be you putting your health at risk when you travel. You have a son here or a Filipino child here, in which you also you cannot bring into the US because probably no passport at all at this point in time, or does not have a visa here. So those are the things. So once you have the order to leave, it's not the end of the line. You still.
So if it is denied, they can do another motion for reconsideration. This time, using a professional like yourself, who knows how to fill in the paperwork.
Yes, and also would like to validate it in a way how you deliver it legally. That is why we have actually touched the a professional, which is an attorney here in a company, for us to when we draw up your documents, we'll actually do we'll get a second opinion of how this one works, because once you have your motion for reconsideration, it will be evaluated by an attorney. And your attorney should have your situation in place. This is my first grounds, number one. This is my second reason, third reason, so on and so forth. And attach it with a tangible proof of you. Like, for example, if you're married, so make sure that you have attached the PSA copy or the yellow copy of your marriage certificate. Otherwise, there might be possibility that it will not be accepted as a grant. So that's how it works here in the Philippines.
Yeah, well, not only here. Just as an aside, and some history. I grew up on a farm in the USA, and my father was like a county commissioner or something. And you get state grants, you get state loans, and federal agricultural loans, different things, and for things for the roads. And he said they found that they didn't want to hire a consultant, but they kept getting denied all this money, and they found if they hired the consultant that knew the system, knew how to fill out the forms, how to present it to the people, they would get the loans or the grants, the roads built,
True,
this
that's
type
true.
of thing. So yeah, I understand that the system, JR, he understands the system, he speaks the language, he deals with these people, they know him, they know he's legitimate, and he presents the cases honestly, so you might save yourself. I know there are guys, and I'm like that. I like to do things myself. You might save yourself a lot of trouble, especially if you've overstayed or getting close to that, by coming and seeking the expertise of somebody like JR. And other people have asked me, well, do you work for JR? And I will say that I was introduced to him about 3 years ago, and he is a good resource, and he has offered to do a number of interviews with me. And so I do what I do. I present useful information to my viewers, my subscribers, and I appreciate the information JR is willing to sit down and discuss with us.
Of course, once we have the avenue to help your subscribers and guide them, we will do that.
All right. Hope that helps clear up the muddy water out there, because you've had, I think you or Kerbin told me, there's a number of people who've gone to immigration offices and said, hey, this is great news. I'm going to extend my tourist visa. And they said, well, it's not quite that easy. That's not quite how it works.
Yeah.
Is that basically
Yeah.
basically it?
That is what is the current situation, especially last week. So that I personally asked Kervin, because I have received calls already. JR, is this true? This is a good news for me. I don't need to apply for appropriate visa. Well, I told them, that might not be the situation, because there should be proper documentations along the way. So it is not like, hey, it's a streamline of, it's an unlimited extensions. No, that the way we do things that for more than 4 years or almost 5 years already, that's not how it goes.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
So we have encountered a lot of inquiries this time, and sometimes you also have to consider the time difference, and apart from our continuous adjustments or not improvement in a way, we will be probably, if we can have the contact numbers already, because we're trying to also to create a 24/7 visa helpline, in which I'll be sharing the information with Rod as well, so that he can actually put this the information below on the channel, on his channel, or on this video. We will be providing it to you in a matter of probably 7 days from now, but we will be giving you some of the dedicated numbers that you may call on apart from mine, so that we can actually address your situations, because sometimes you'll be calling us in the middle of the night and we're fast asleep here. So we would like to get back to you on that matter. That we can actually start with a WhatsApp, and we'll be giving you the number that will be linked to WhatsApp, and we can also be on the chat support on our website as well. So our intention is to help you and guide you along the way, especially for those subscribers who are still in the US. And if they have questions, we also started to explore getting in touch of all the Philippine embassies in the US, and also might as well getting the apostille services in the US for us to connect, and also getting to know more on the online marriage that was offered in the US based company. So at the end of the day, we would like to help you in this trying times, and hopefully you can that will be of good value for you, that you can see as of this time, because our intention is to help you. So without much further ado, Rod, thank you so much for coming here, and also it's a instant schedule. So, wishing everyone that you'll be in good health, and we can survive this crisis together.
All right, very good. Thank you, JR.